Hello and welcome to a new video. Today I'll be giving my thoughts and opinions on the trailer for Space Jam: A New Legacy, which I will likely be frequently referring to as Space Jam 2, just because it's less of a mouthful, and also some, I guess, general Looney Tunes related matters. And the only reason I'm really doing this is because I commentated or discussed like the movie quite a while ago. One, just quick note is that like I think the release date for the film has been the same like regardless of everything. And I think the release date was announced like before the coronavirus really took hold of things and fucked everything up. So like somehow a Space Jam movie of all things was the powerhouse that withstood the pandemic when it comes to, actually releasing at a certain time. So that's just fucking goofy. Will it be better than the original Space Jam is, I think, the question on many people's minds. And I'll say right now, the original Space Jam was a very shitty movie. Like, I don't have the sort of nostalgia for it that many people have, and so I will say that by virtue, like I think I said in the previous video, by virtue of it being like nostalgia bait, it's already on a higher pillar than, hey, let's take these literal shoe commercials and adapt them into a movie. One thing I actually do appreciate is that there will be points where LeBron James is actually an animated character. It's not that, very, immersion breaking, I guess you can say, scenario where it's like Michael Jackson is a real person and he's surrounded by these cartoon characters. Because that's something animated movies do a lot. Like, it's the real person being filmed and then they animate the cartoon characters around them. Like the new Tom and Jerry was that. There was elements of that in the most recent SpongeBob movie. It's like, I get it. Who Framed Roger Rabbit is a classic and a very well done movie. But I don't think any of these subsequent films have ever met the quality. I know for a fact you're actually just doing this because it's cheaper. So I do appreciate that they went out of their way to put a modicum of effort into achieving that. Now, in his own reaction video, this YouTuber who calls himself like the Looney Tunes critic has actually, he's pointing out that like it's only 2D animated so far. There's also 3D animated Looney Tunes characters. In fact, that's probably gonna be like the midpoint and finale or whatever. And he asked whether or not that was due to like a contrivance reason rather than like an artistic one. And I do think I know why that's the case. What I think is that when they were coming up with, hey, let's make another Space Jam, one of the first ideas that probably came up was, well, how do we escalate things from the first one, where we had all these cartoon characters surrounding it? And I guess someone had the oh-so-brilliant idea of, hey, what if we just, like, flaunt all of our Warner Brothers IPs, everything WB owns, we're gonna put in the movie. It's gonna be like Ready Player One or the Lego Batman movie. Or, let's see, there was another film, it was, that came up a lot in discussions. But anyways, we're going to do that. However, a lot of the Warner Brothers IPs are of live-action movies, and we see that in the audience members. There's people from live-action Batman stuff. There's the Groots, I think they're called, from A Clockwork Orange. There's like a couple War Boys from Mad Max. There's a Ice King from Game of Thrones. And they realize that if everything is 2D animated, then they're going to have to draw all of that out, and they're going to have to animate it quite a bit. And that's going to take a long time, it's going to take a lot of effort, and it's probably going to cost a lot more money than just using a little bit of a CGI trickery to grab a, body shot of one of these live action people and put that into the movie. And so I think that's why there is this live action combination. And also maybe there's this notion that CGI is just better these days. I don't know if it's cheaper or not, strangely enough. But it is used way more than 2D animation. As far as the CG models for Looney Tunes go, they're alright. I mean, like, on YouTube you can find this video called Daffy's Rhapsody, which is sort of 3D CGI Looney Tunes that incorporated a recording of Mel Blanc singing a song in Daffy's voice, and it's actually pretty good. And I think those models there look better than what we see in Space Jam 2 so far. I find they look very plasticky, Like, I'm not... Like, other than Bugs Bunny and his texturing, I find it looks very plasticky. It'd kind of almost be better if they did it more like, say, TF2 here, this sort of art style, rather than have all these details in the texturing and whatever. But I'm not sure how much CGI is gonna be versus 2D stuff. Hopefully there's more 2D stuff than CGI though, because 2D is almost a dying art in everything but TV cartoons. Like, commercials use CGI, movies use CGI. It would just be nice if people moved away from it, because as fantastic as some of the stuff people are able to do with 3D models, even capturing the essence of an art style like the recent Peanuts movie, for example, it would be nice to see some more variety, I guess. Variety is a spice of life, after all, so I'm told. Now, rather than this idea that the Looney Tunes exist in the center of the Earth, which brings up a bunch of lore, I guess you can call it, questions, like, well then, what about Marvin the Martian? Is he also from the center of the Earth? Is there an entire cosmos in the Earth's surface? And why are the Nerdlucks, or the Monstars as they eventually become, from space and still look animated? Ah, fuck. Animation went too long. Cause does that mean that, like, it's just the Earth's surface that has real people person and everything else is a cartoon? Like, is this... And it's gonna sound like a weird comparison, similar to the cosmology in, like, Abrahamic mythos, where inside the earth you have these supernatural creatures, demons, satans, evil spirits, that sort of stuff. And then in the sky you have these supernatural creatures, gods and angels. And then just everything on earth is pretty much normal, although the supernatural things can interact with the normal earth. Like, it's not really all that different, surprisingly. Like, as stupid as that seems. But now in Space Jam 2, it's that everything exists in these like Warner Brothers studio servers. And everything exists, each individual IP have their own planet. So there's a Game of Thrones planet, there's a Wizard of Oz planet, there's a Flintstones planet, which is kind of odd because, like, there's a planet that's for DC animated stuff. You can see, like, Gotham on one side and Metropolis on another. And yet, it looks like one of the planets for the Flintstones, you know, as brief and scarce as we see it, is just for the Flintstones, so it doesn't have, like, the Jetsons on it. That might be its own separate planet. And, of course, there's a Looney Tunes planet as well. And, again, it's just a means of flaunting their IP. I find it kind of amusing that there's a Maltese Falcon planet. I hope that's, like, just more of a visual gag than anything, because it is kind of weird that this classic, this well-respected older movie would be represented in fucking Space Jam of all things. Got too greedy with the slashing there. This guy here is just having a dick nick. Really? One of the plot points of the movie is that, like, the Looney Tunes have apparently split up and some of them have decided to fuck off and go to other planets. And so it's probably gonna be that Bugs Bunny and LeBron James are going to all these different planets. And even though LeBron James wants his team to have, like, Superman and King Kong, it's probably going to end up being they go to these different planets to ask the actual Daisins of them, hey, can you join our team for the basketball game? And for one reason or another, they're going to be like, no, or Bugs Bunny is going to do some trickery. And it's like, alright, fine, we'll take the Looney Tunes character that's just, like, hanging out here for whatever reason. Here's my chief complaint about the trailer. Where the fuck is Marvin the Martian? Like, there's a statue of him in the Warner Brothers studio at the beginning. They're flying around in what's probably one of his spaceships. The Martian Maggot, that yellow spaceship from the original Duck Dodgers short, is visible in the around the basketball field in some shots, and there's also the Planet X world also from Duck Dodgers. And in one of the shots, Bugs Bunny is wearing his helmet. So he's referenced indirectly in multiple different ways, but there's no explicit, hey, here's Marvin the Martian. He doesn't even come up in that a series of images that Bugs Bunny pulls up when trying to convince LeBron James I wonder if I called him Michael Jordan in this video yet. Convinced LeBron James to like assemble a team or whatever. And it's actually kind of funny because in that clip they forgot to take off the little timer on the bottom right of the video. And let's see, Lola is listed as being born in 1988, which doesn't make sense because she premiered in Space Jam, which is a 90s movie, and people suspect, like, I think there's like a something about that being her birth year on a wiki somewhere. So basically some employee just referenced the wiki for her birth year and rolled with it without like verifying or making sure or anything. And let's see, what else is weird about that? I think she's listed as being like a rooster in it. It has like what their species is down below. And also, for whatever reason, some of the characters have their full names, so like Wile E. Coyote. And then some of the characters don't have their full names, like it's just Elmer and not Elmer Fudd. So that's also inconsistent. And the icon they used for Elmer Fudd is actually one of the stock icons, the stock images of Elmer Fudd that, you know, Warner Brothers tends to use often because it's a reliable fucking picture of him. But it's weird that it's either directly used or like directly copied for his icon in that scene. It's amazing what I can just fucking ramble on about. Like, Jesus Christ, the clip's like 2 fucking seconds long.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So, who knows, with so little Marvin present, it might end up being that Looney Tunes Back in Action remains the objectively better movie, due in part to Marvin being in 2 major scenes, the Area 52 scene and the final fight against Bugs and Daffy in space. Hey, the more Marvin the better. That's why Duck Dodgers is objectively the best Looney Tunes spin-off show in like almost every single freaking episode. I might just shit at Amy. Why? Just bounce him in the air while I try and shoot the arrow. There we go. As far as like the, hey, let's just flaunt all of our IPs at once goes, I'm not really a fan of it. I'd prefer to be more focused on Looney Tunes. And it would also mean that, like, they wouldn't be changing 2D animation to 3D animation and live action mix. I don't think we're actually going to see the kind of massive amount of cameos from lesser known Looney Tunes characters as in the first Space Jam. Because like the first Space Jam, yeah, you had the main ensemble and then you had like Rocky and Muggsy and the Gophers and Barnyard Dog and Mark Anthony and Pussyfoot. You know, characters who aren't the main ones and probably appeared in only 1 or 2 original shorts. They were able to make an appearance in the audience. Toro the Bull is another one. I think the Dover Boys were also in the audience. But here, since it's gonna be all of these different Warner Brothers IPs, they aren't going to focus on Looney Tunes because we have to shove in like all these other characters. The Warners from the Animaniacs are there. That's nice, I guess. No idea if like any Tiny Toons characters are gonna make an appearance. Maybe, maybe not. They're doing like a fucking reboot of Tiny Toons or a sequel that I might discuss later. I sincerely doubt any of the original characters from Duck Dodgers is going to appear. How am I cheating? I'm a fucking Kunstman sniper. Who cheats with a Kunstman sniper? Is it that guy you want to kick? Well, it should be. He's clearly cheating. Whatever. Yeah, get the fuck out of here. And, you know, to be honest, I mean, do you really want these characters to appear again? If they don't use them, they can't ruin them. That's like, that's something to keep in mind whenever you think about bringing something back. So I genuinely doubt there will be any Duck Dodgers characters in the audience or any references outside of like the ones to the original short. Because for whatever reason, the only fucking thing that remembers Duck Dodgers is those Funko Pop, that stuff. Like, they have a few Duck Dodgers figurines and shit like that, but Warner Brothers definitely doesn't remember it. It's not on HBO Max, which is pretty fucking whack. Wow, that was goofy. That's way fucking goofy.
Enemy has received additional time.
Let's see, one thing that has caught people's attention is that Yosemite Sam has his guns, which, considering that Elmer and Sam aren't allowed to have their guns in the Looney Tunes cartoons, the new sort of a spin-off, yeah, that comes to a surprise to people, and it is retarded that they don't have their guns because, like, you know, of all the shootings that have happened in the country, especially the school shootings, there's not a single thing to suggest there's even the most remote link between those horrendous actions and Elmer Fudd having a stupid shotgun. Like, I don't think any of these killers were convinced by cartoons like, oh, if I shoot this guy in the face, you know, his facial structure will be rearranged in a goofy fashion, and he'll be fine. Like, that's just not how anyone thinks, and I don't know why they would remove guns if that's not the fucking connection they're making. Just making sure. Gotta be paranoid as speeds, you know? I really don't like their sniper. How's he all the way in there? Whatever. However, Yosemite Sam gets his guns, but Pepe Le Pew, he's out, cause another thing that has literally no fucking impact on people's thinking, you know, Pepe Le Pew's unwanted advances to Penelope the cat, who, by the way, is apparently going to be on the team, but she didn't appear in the trailer at all, either. God damn it, show Marvin. you know, because of this Me Too shit and all this, you know, sort of hysteria going on related to sex, it's just, I guess, not a good time to show Pepe Le Pew. So apparently, like, you know, sexual assault is taken even more seriously than, like, gun violence by studios. So, make that of that what you will. Nothing's going up, boy. You're going down. And what's kind of funny is that, like, there was going to be a scene. I don't even care. That was hilarious. There's going to be a scene where, like, LeBron teaches Pepe about the concept of consent. He was going to be on, like, the Casablanca planet. And so that would be a gag. Although, like, the thing is, like, Penelope never rejected Pepe because she wasn't attracted to him or anything like that. It's literally because he stinks. Like, she wants to get away from him because he smells bad. And every time he, like, gets doused in perfume or whatever and no longer stinks, she's the one who's sexually assaulting him. She's all over him and he's trying to get away, so the roles have been reversed. You see, it is something called a joke. But yeah, like, Pepe would have been on the Casablanca planet, and who, I think, let's see, I think it's Lola's going to be on a Wonder Woman planet, which I don't know why she's getting her own planet, but whatever. Shouldn't just be the DCEU planet, because they're using the designs from the DC Cinematic Universe or Expanded Universe. Their fucking efforts to be Marvel, I mean, let's fucking face it. And it kind of gets me wondering, well, what other planets would some of these tunes have, you know, gone off to? And where the fuck is Marvin the Martian? Because if they're using his ship to fly to these different planets, then, like, where is he? Now, in the scene where they're deciding where to send LeBron James, and it's like, oh, send him to the reject planet, which ends up being the fucking Looney Tunes world. I mean, isn't that a nice thing to say about your flagship property, Warner Brothers? There's some actual planet names that come up, like, you know, there's fictional worlds like Orbit City from the Jetsons and Westeros from Game of Thrones, but there's also Mercury and Mars. So, like, are there proper real-world planets in the Warner Brothers serververse? Or, you know, is Marvin on that Mars? Or where's he? Because I really want to know, because he's my favorite Looney Tunes character. Speedy Gonzalez is also in, which surprised some people, because he's an ethnic stereotype. And, like, but the thing is, like, it's not Mexicans who don't like him, it's people who like to be offended on other people's behalf that don't like him. I'll take that revenge, fuck it. Getting tired of that boy. And so I'm sure some people are glad that he's back. If you're like a Speedy Gonzalez fan, you can be rest assured you're gonna see him again. I think what the general plot is going to be is that, like, since the Looney Tunes are seen as these sort of rejects, it's going to be like LeBron wants to get these big name properties like, Superman and King Kong on board, and Bugs will see it as his opportunity to get the Looney Tunes back in the spotlight. And so he's gonna convince LeBron in some ways to have them as a team, and of course he's gonna succeed. We've seen them all dressed up in the new trailer. One interesting thing is, like, it doesn't seem like Space Jam 1 literally happened, but I'm wondering if it might end up being that, like, it was a movie the Looney Tunes acknowledge they partook in. So, like, you know how in Human Centipede 2, the Human Centipede 1 is an actual movie in that universe? And in Human Centipede 3, which was a downgrade from Human Centipede 2, the first two movies are also movies in that universe. It's kind of like that. So I also wonder if they acknowledged Looney Tunes back in action. And the reason I say that is because when they're doing that transition from 2D to 3D, you can see Bugs Bunny is actually wearing the old Toon Squad uniform from the first Space Jam. He's not wearing the new design, which looks alright, I guess. I don't have any strong opinions on the uniforms.
Mission begins in 10 seconds. 5, 4,
So what else do I want to talk about?
1.
Probably someone way back there. Is there? No. Oh, that's surprising. Usually is a... I saw that sniper.
Appreciate it. Thanks, mate.
Oh, dumb spy. You're supposed to avoid getting shot by the sentry, silly Billy. Well, the important thing is killing the sentry. Everything else is fairly secondary.
That bloody car ain't gonna move itself.
So some people have pointed out the hypocrisy of Pepe Le Pew isn't in the movie because of, like, Me Too bullshit, but the gang from A Clockwork Orange are allowed to be in the audience. A bunch of literal rapists are allowed to be represented in the movie, but not the funny cartoon skunk. And, I'll even expand their argument and say that there's an entire Game of Thrones planet, and Game of Thrones characters are in the audience, and that's a movie with a ton of, non-consensual stuff regarding sex, incest, wanton violence, all that crap. But that's apparently alright. However, I don't see it as, hypocritical as some people are making out to be, and the reason for that is because those guys in the audience are supposed to be a blink it and you'll miss it sort of thing. Like, you have to pause the video and look around in order to really notice they're there. And this is supposed to be a massive fucking, hey, everyone's here, look at how much shit we own sort of deal. Meanwhile, Pepe Le Pew, if he appears in the movie, would no doubt be one of the, actual players. I think he was one of the players in the original Space Jam. And so having some actual screen time where he does stuff, where he's part of gags, is way more of an exposure of things than some dudes in the background. And it's unlikely that kids who, well, obviously this is supposed to be a movie, if nothing else, made to accommodate kids, if not outright be a kids movie, probably aren't going to recognize the Clockwork Orange guys. I mean, I genuinely don't know how familiar kids are with, like, Stanley Kubrick's filmography, but, like, they'd probably recognize a 2001 Monolith. They probably wouldn't recognize the Clockwork Orange rapists. And so it's not like they're being exposed to anything. And there's so many characters around them that it's not like they'd be a focus or anything. I could have sworn there was a fucking spy. Now, do I think it was a good idea to take Pepe Le Pew out? No, I think it's retarded for the same reason that not having guns in Looney Tunes cartoons is. Just smack into a wall. But, you know, that's their decision and I can't change it, and it's not enough of a deal breaker for me. Hey, just keep Marvin the Martian in, alright? Seriously, he's not in the fucking trailer. Like, he's not in the trailer. Tierney from Duck Dodgers probably isn't gonna be in the movie at all. Does Warner Brothers just hate black people? Was all that Black Lives Matter posturing just that? Corporate posturing? I mean, regardless of if Marvin appears, the answer is clearly fucking yes. Please stop, you know, listening to these corporations when they say, no, we totally care about you. But yeah, hashtag bring Marvin back. Big mad about this. Not really, I mean, he'll probably appear in another trailer, and he's certainly gonna be in the movie. Seems kind of weird, like, he's one of the most popular characters, and yet he appears so little relative to a lot of the other big names. It's like, in the Looney Tunes show, he was only in, like, a handful of episodes, in, I think it's called, like, New Looney Tunes. They're so shit at naming these. He was only in a handful of episodes, and in Looney Tunes cartoons, he really, so far, has only... I fucking hate spies. Go be French somewhere else, you piece of shit. He's been in only these, like, you know, at most 15-second clips. Although that is changing. He is, by looks of it, going to be in a proper multi-minute short in the next batch of Looney Tunes cartoon shorts. So, yeah, we'll see how they do with him doing more than, like, a single scenario. But, you know, again, it's why, objectively, as a statement of absolute fact, Duck Dodgers is the best, spin-off show. It's science, you can't argue against it. It's a 100% medically accurate statement right there. Anyways, outside of Space Jam 2, we know there's like an Animaniacs reboot, but I haven't seen any of that. I was, you know, never really into the Animaniacs. I don't really give much of a shit. If it's good, great. If it's not, well, ain't that par for the fucking course. quit bullying me. But one thing that's gonna be coming up is sort of sequel to that Tiny Toons spin-off. And it's gonna be like Tiny Toons Luniversity, so they're college kids now. And not like, I think, preteens or teenagers, or... How old were they in the original Tiny Toons? I don't know. And that might be alright. Maybe Marvin will appear again as... I don't think he was actually one of the teachers, was he? Like, some of the Looney Tunes were the teachers in... Isn't that just fucking goofy? Some of the original Looney Tunes were teachers in Tiny Toons, and I think it's been confirmed that'll be the case again. So who knows, maybe Marvin will appear again, maybe, I actually forget her name, but like, Marvin's niece, I think she was, Marika or something, the Martian. I wouldn't have survived that even if it wasn't a crit. Maybe she'll appear again. No idea if the Fifi the skunk, who was kind of like the Tiny Toons version of Pepe, will appear. Oh, pardon me. Because if Pepe isn't allowed, then like it should make sense that she wouldn't be allowed either, but I mean, it shouldn't be a controversial statement to say that society at large has a very different view on sexual assault depending on the genders. Sad but true, but whatever. So maybe that'll be good, and you know, like, so we're getting, you know, basically a reboot of the classic shorts with Looney Tunes cartoons. We've gotten an Animaniacs reboot. We're getting basically a reboot of Tiny Toons. Like, what else is gonna be down the pipeline as far as being remade? Like, is Tasmania gonna be remade? Or Sylvester and Tweety Mysteries? Or Baby Looney Tunes? How long do we have to wait until they start rummaging through the early 2000s stuff? And is the Duck Dodgers reboot going to be fucking horrible? I'm just kidding, no one fucking remembers Duck Dodgers. Except, oddly enough, that shitty gacha game, the Looney Tunes World of Mayhem mobile game, which I played for a while. I never spent any money on it, and I just stopped because it was getting boring and grindy and not fun. I would love to see like an actual fucking Looney Tunes game come out on console and PC, but it's probably not gonna happen. There really aren't a lot of licensed games anymore. You know, it's kinda used to be that like every new kids movie had a fucking video game adaptation. That was an ace fucking shot right there, holy shit. And now like almost no movies have video game adaptations. Guess video games are just getting harder and harder to make. But yeah, the Looney Tunes World of Mayhem actually does acknowledge Duck Dodgers in the show's version of Yosemite Sam is in the game, and of Witch Hazel. We see Duck Dodger's ship in one of the special attacks for the character Duck Dodgers, but he's based off of the classic short, which makes sense, of course. You know, I mean, it is a fantastic short. It literally spawned an entire fucking spin-off, so it must be worth something, you know? Get the fuck out of here. It's not respecting the rules of melee. Like, I was ready to fucking slash. That wasn't supposed to happen. That was supposed to go differently. Also, fuck dead ringers. So let's see, anything else I want to talk about? Oh yeah, like in the sort of wide shots of the game actually happening, if you look at the scoreboard, it doesn't say points, it says followers. And the reason for that is, like, this is why I think the movie will be, like, absolutely retarded. Even if it ends up being good, even if it's funny, it's still gonna be fucking stupid. The reason the AI has captured LeBron James's son is because he wants LeBron James's Instagram followers. He wants to capture all of LeBron James's social media followers. Let me have this. Let me have this. Don't kill me. It's running around like a headless chicken. It wants to have like all of LeBron James's social media followers. That's the fucking villain motive in the movie. That might actually be dumber than the fucking villain motive in the first Space Jam, because the first Space Jam, this guy wanted to capture the Looney Tunes so they would be kind of like a showcase for his failing amusement park. This is literally like such a fucking window into the 2010s. It's actually amazing. Wait, you're not gonna dead ring, you piece of shit. Take your L. Fuck off. Here, it's like, no, I'm not popular enough on Instagram. Seriously, that is so stupid. That is, like, just pure stupidity. I really hope that doesn't take, like, any fucking priority. And it's, like, just the flimsiest of fucking statements made in the movie that has no real bearing. But it probably is, since it is, like, the villain motivation. Is that friendly? Like, the Looney Tunes splitting up, maybe it's because they aren't as big as they used to be and they got kind of tired of each other. That's, you know, perfectly fine. But I don't know, man, that sort of villain motivation just sounds so goddamn stupid. I mean, even like in Looney Tunes Back in Action, like the villain wanted to get this blue monkey diamond so that he could turn everyone into monkeys, and they would be then subservient drones making Acme products. Then he'd change them back and they would buy the products they've made. So it's basically like, hey, I want to be an evil capitalist. And that was also kind of a, really stupid motivation, I guess. So, maybe it can work. Maybe it can work. But something about just jealousy over social media followers seems so shallow as a reason to be a villain. I'm kind of curious, like, hypothetically this movie does well, which, it might actually have a chance, because it's a summer release, and there's probably not going to be a lot of competition, because everyone else was kneecapped by COVID, and by the summer, like, there's going to be probably enough vaccinations for herd immunity. Like Joe Biden, as part of his campaign, said, in the first 100 days, we're gonna have 100 million Americans vaccinated. And he was able to accomplish that in like, not even, I think not even 50 days, or maybe it was 59 days. But like, definitely not even 100 days. So that's like, fantastic. That's a lot better than what he set out to do. So yeah, there'll probably be like enough people vaccinated that people feel safe going to the theater and watching a movie there. It's also going to be releasing on HBO Max, like on the same day as coming to the theater. I'd probably try to catch it in the theater, to be honest. It's been over a fucking year since I've sat down and watched a movie. So hypothetically this film does well. Are they gonna try to do another film like it? Because with the original Space Jam, they had the idea of doing a bunch of different sort of celebrity cameo movies. There was going to be a skate jam with Tony Hawk. There's going to be a golf jam with Tiger Woods. I think there was going to be like maybe a fighting movie with Jackie Chan. And that never really came in. Oh, I think my was like a spy movie with Jackie Chan, but I think the spy movie ended up being Looney Tunes Back in Action, and that movie didn't do well financially, unfortunately. Quality just rarely gets an eye, it seems. But, this one probably will do well. It's also riding off of nostalgia, so that's a pretty powerful motivator. And I wonder if they're gonna try to redo that. Like, hey, let's do other sort of celebrity movies. The thing is, like, Warner Brothers have tried to have their own Marvel through the DCEU, and they also want to make the Hanna-Barbera cinematic universe a thing. I'm at a loss of words. Whatever. And they tried that with that Scoob movie, but it's another case of blowing your load too early with cinematic universe stuff, and so a movie ended up being shit. But like, if Space Jam becomes successful, they could like try to be cheeky and make like the Space Jam cinematic universe. And so there'd be like another movie with another celebrity, and maybe it would focus more on some of these other planets. Could end up being a neat idea. Would probably just end up being a soulless corporate cash grab scenario. I mean, its IP flaunting is already pretty soulless. But, who knows? Like, maybe quality comes from the most unexpected places. I do think this film, despite the grievances I have so far, has more of a chance to be better than the original Space Jam. I mean, jokes do actually seem a bit funnier. You know, it could end up being good. It's got a lot working against it. It's a fucking Space Jam movie. But maybe they'll pull through. They just gotta show Marvin the Martian way fucking more than they have already. You know, that's a big thing. That's a critical element they're lacking. If they can achieve that, it's GG easy. Probably be another trailer, and I think this film comes out July. It's April, so in like the next 2 or 3 months. And yeah, I guess that's really all I have to say. I've been rambling on for so long about fucking Looney Tunes of all things. Goddamn grown-ass man playing a video game, rambling on about fucking Looney Tunes. I mean, how low can you go, huh? Oh. That better not be yours, bub. So, I hope you enjoyed the video. I gave you something to think about and otherwise entertained you. Take care.